This is exactly what you needed to hear, and it found you for a reason. Listen closely, because if you're watching this video, it's not by accident. Something important is about to happen. When the universe, or the quantum field, depending on how you see it, is about to deliver a major breakthrough, the first thing it does is shake your inner world. You start feeling uncomfortable. And that discomfort? That's the sign. But too often we ignore it and miss the opportunity to completely change our lives. In this video, you'll discover why this strange moment you're going through might be the beginning of one of the most powerful transformations you'll ever experience. We'll talk about how to reprogram your mind, align your energy with what you truly want, and understand why the challenges you're facing right now are actually preparing you for the future you've always dreamed of. If you're tired of feeling stuck in the same mental, emotional, and spiritual loops, and you know deep down it's time to take control of your destiny with full awareness, clear intention, and focus, then stay with me until the end. There's a key here waiting for you. And if you leave too soon, you might miss the exact moment when everything starts to click. Now's a good time to hit that like button. It really helps the channel keep sharing this kind of content for those who need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. So many people watch these videos and don't even realize they're not subscribed. But subscribing is the first step to making sure you never miss the tools that can help transform your life. If you feel like life is calling you right now, this video might be your answer. You know that strange discomfort that shows up out of nowhere, even when everything should be fine. It's not bad luck, and it's not some pointless existential crisis. It's life trying to wake you up. For those familiar with Joe Dispenza's teachings, it's clear. The universe doesn't whisper without reason. When something big is forming in the quantum field, your subconscious mind starts to resist. It senses it's being pushed to let go of old mental patterns. Your body, conditioned to low-frequency emotions, begins to react. Anxiety, irritability, sleeplessness, all signs that your inner reality is being pulled into a higher state of consciousness. The biggest trap? Believing this discomfort is a punishment, when in truth, it's the clearest invitation to personal transformation. Neuroscience has already shown that the brain resists change because it wants to conserve energy. It prefers repeating familiar pathways instead of forming new ones. But that's where mental reprogramming comes in. When you meditate with intention and focus, you activate areas of your brain that were asleep. You literally start reconnecting with a version of yourself that already vibrates at higher frequencies, like gratitude and unconditional love. This phase of unease? That's the old you beginning to dissolve. Not with flowers and sweet goodbyes, but with real internal struggle. Your nervous system, used to feeding on stress and self-protection, starts to destabilize. Like someone going through withdrawal. And that's exactly what it is. Your body is addicted to survival emotions. The pain you feel is your ego losing ground. Your subconscious mind screams because it knows it's losing control. But if you take a deep breath and keep showing up to your daily meditation, you'll start to feel something new, heart coherence. A subtle synchronicity between your brain and heart that anchors you in the now and opens you up to infinite possibilities. There comes a moment when the world around you starts to look strange. Nothing has changed objectively, but everything feels different. Familiar places don't carry the same spark. Regular conversations feel hollow. That comfortable routine? It starts to feel like a cage. That's not boredom, it's expansion. It's the first signal that your consciousness is vibrating on a new frequency. And when that happens, your brain begins to rewire itself. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity, the power to create new neural pathways. But what's behind that is more than just science. It's your soul awakening to a new version of you. Joe Dispenza teaches that before any outer transformation, there's a quiet shift in perception. What was once invisible starts to grab your attention. You begin to notice the synchronicities, the signs you used to overlook, the patterns that now stand out clearly. That's your subconscious mind clinging to the past, while your awakened awareness begins to see the future that's calling you. That inner break between old habits and a new way of seeing, that's where real mental reprogramming begins. And it starts quietly, in the smallest details. When you realize the problem isn't the world, it's the lens you've been using to look at it. If you suddenly feel disconnected from things that used to make sense, celebrate it. It's a clear sign that life is trying to move you forward. You're finally seeing the stage because you've started to step out of the role. The autopilot is breaking down. And that's a good thing. From there, everything can be redefined. When you practice meditation focused on elevated emotions like gratitude, you teach your body to feel before the evidence shows up. And when you genuinely feel, when your emotion is strong and your intention is clear, your quantum field responds. It's like reality begins to reorganize itself to match the new energy you're putting out. This subtle shift in perception is the rehearsal for the great transformation. Ignore it and it fades away. Embrace it, and it lifts you to a new level of consciousness. The call is in the way you see what's always been there, in how you listen, how you feel, and how you interpret each moment. Transformation doesn't strike like lightning. It begins like a soft glow that changes the color of everything around you. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice. Reality is trying to talk to you. Will you keep pretending it's just coincidence? It's funny how people beg for change but run from pressure. They want a new life, but can't stand the heat that shapes them. But the universe, or the quantum field, if you prefer, doesn't leap blindly. It prepares the ground before it plants the seed. And that means before you receive what you've been asking for during those powerful meditations, you'll be tested. You'll face challenges that seem bigger than you. But here's the truth, they're not. They only reflect the size of the growth you're ready for. Joe Dispenza teaches that pressure is how a new identity is shaped, neuron by neuron, emotion by emotion. Neuroscience shows that under pressure, the brain goes into high alert. It can freeze, or it can expand. What makes the difference? Your emotional response. If you surrender to fear, you activate the old patterns. But if you face it with awareness and conscious breathing, you activate heart coherence. You align mind and heart, and you tap into a state of presence that changes your entire biochemistry. In that state, you don't just survive the pressure, you use it as fuel, as leverage for mental reprogramming. And that is what separates those who live in survival mode from those who are consciously creating their destiny. Ever wonder why all the challenges seem to come at once? Because they're orchestrated to collapse your old identity all at once. And that's not punishment. It's quantum efficiency. The universe doesn't want to take 10 years to transform you. It wants to give you abundance now. But to hold it, you must be able to withstand the polishing process. Only what survives the pressure is ready to sustain what's coming. Pressure reveals the cracks, where your limiting beliefs are holding you back. And that's a gift, because you can only change what you're aware of. Challenges are mirrors. So next time life punches you in the gut, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to show me about me?" Because that question, that shift, is where the gold is. That's where your power begins. It's when you stop reacting and start responding with intention. And in doing so, you align with a level of energy that transforms pressure into strength, obstacles into stepping stones, and chaos into clarity. Do you want inner strength? It's already there, just hidden beneath layers of self-deception and victimhood. And maybe it's time to peel those layers off, don't you think? The conditioned mind craves control. It wants to cling to what's familiar, even if that's the very thing holding you back. So when someone leaves or something falls apart, your first reaction is pain, anger, attachment. But what if that loss is actually an answer? What if what you're calling an ending is actually the beginning of your alignment with a new version of yourself? Joe Dispenza teaches that the quantum field doesn't respond to words. It responds to vibration. And when you start radiating a new frequency, even if you're not aware of it, everything that no longer matches that frequency begins to dissolve. Not because the universe is cruel, but because it's coherent. Yes, sometimes pain is just realignment in disguise. Breakups, whether romantic, professional, or even geographic, are often protection mechanisms from the intelligence of the universe. Neuroscience shows us that the brain is wired to repeat patterns, even in relationships. The subconscious mind clings to what's familiar, even if it's toxic or limiting. So when life starts pushing you toward growth, some connections naturally fall away. And yes, the ego hurts. But the deeper you, the one connected to higher awareness and a vision of your future self, knows. Some losses are actually hidden releases. Mental reprogramming also happens when you let go without fighting to hold onto what's already served its purpose. Often, it's only after something or someone leaves your life that you realize how tightly you were bound to emotional patterns that were blocking abundance. It's like clearing a signal tower. The connection was always there, but the noise from your old identity was jamming the signal. Letting go creates space for new experiences, elevated emotions, and unexpected synchronicities. And for the first time, you understand, gratitude doesn't just belong to moments when everything's going right. It must also be practiced in the midst of loss. That's the state of being that activates the circuits of conscious creation. In these moments, guided meditation with clear intention is not a luxury, it's a physiological necessity. Here's the truth. Nothing leaves your life without making space for something far more aligned with the person you're becoming. The pain of separation is real, but it doesn't define what's coming. If you look with awareness, you'll see you're being protected from paths that could never support your new vibration. Personal transformation requires space. And sometimes, the universe has to do a deep energetic cleanse. So instead of clinging to what's gone, ask yourself, what is opening up in me because of this? Because as long as you keep holding on to the old, the new is left waiting at the door. Let's be honest, no one likes waiting. The fast-paced mind, conditioned for instant gratification, panics when results don't show up on time. But that waiting time is where the universe is doing its deepest work. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you send out a clear intention with elevated emotion, the quantum field responds. But between the moment of asking and the moment of receiving, there's a precious interval, time for you to become compatible with what you've asked for. Waiting isn't passive, it's a silent lab of energetic, emotional, and neurological maturation. It's the space where the soul rehearses carrying the weight of what it's asked to receive. It's the incubation chamber for mental reprogramming. Neuroscience confirms that new habits, new synapses, and new emotional states need repetition to become real. You need to live, think, and feel like the person who already has what they desire, even before the evidence shows up in the outside world. Gratitude, when practiced in the in-between, not just the after, becomes a magnetic force. It's what holds your frequency steady, even when it feels like nothing's happening. Waiting is not punishment, it's construction. And those who get that begin to see miracles happening in the ordinary. But there's something important here. This phase demands vigilance, because it's exactly during the waiting that the old mental patterns try to creep back in. They whisper, "This isn't working. You're not good enough. Nothing's going to change." And if you believe them, you fall back into the same cycle. That's why maintaining heart coherence during the wait is a strategic practice. Conscious breathing, focusing on the heart, activating emotions like love, peace, and optimism. This biochemical alignment anchors you in the now and keeps anxiety from contaminating your creation. When you're fully present, waiting stops being a burden and becomes a portal. Waiting is the invisible training ground of reality creators. It's where consistency is built, where energetic integrity and self-awareness are forged. It's where you prove, not to the universe, but to yourself, that you're committed to your new self. Because what you do when nothing is happening determines everything that's about to happen. So instead of asking when will it arrive, ask who do I need to become for this to manifest? The truth is simple. The universe doesn't respond to your calendar. It responds to your frequency. Are you going to wait like a victim, or use this time as a tool of mastery? If you could peek inside a cocoon, It wouldn't be pretty. You wouldn't see a caterpillar slowly growing wings. You'd see destruction. The caterpillar literally dissolves. Its old structure breaks down into liquid. Only then does something new begin to take shape. That's the biological blueprint of personal transformation. Joe Dispenza teaches that creating a new reality isn't just about thinking different thoughts. You have to allow the old version of you to die. And that never happens without confusion, without fear, without a dark stretch of time where nothing makes sense. But that inner chaos? That's where the magic happens. In the metaphor of metamorphosis, the cocoon is the reprogramming phase. It's when you withdraw from the outer world, dive deep into yourself, confront your shadows, and begin to visualize a new version of you. But the body resists. The subconscious mind, which has been running 95% of your life on autopilot, starts screaming for control. This is the moment where many give up. But those who keep going, who stay committed even without visible results, begin activating a new biological code. Neuroscience confirms, when exposed to elevated emotions and meditation with intention, the brain begins forming new neural pathways. It's like the wings are starting to take shape. And here's the beautiful part. Inside the cocoon, the butterfly already exists in potential, long before it ever takes flight. The same goes for you. That more authentic, abundant, free, conscious version of you, it already exists in your quantum field. But to meet it, you must be brave enough to move through the process without trying to rush it. You have to hold the frequency even when things feel stuck. You have to trust that behind the silence, there's an intelligence reorganizing your inner structure. Daily meditation activates heart coherence and sends the universe a clear signal: I'm ready to fly. But don't be fooled. The cocoon is tight. It will demand patience, surrender, and focus. It will trigger you. It will force you to face what you've been avoiding. But it will also reveal your strength, your light, and your true power to shape your destiny. And remember, the butterfly never turns back into a caterpillar. Once you cross that threshold, there's no return to the old self. And that, even if it's scary, is liberating. So if you're feeling like you're in chaos right now, this might not be the end. It might just be the beginning of your flight. You're already transforming. You just have to keep going until the cocoon breaks. Sometimes, pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to wake you up. To break unconscious cycles that have kept you stuck in an outdated identity. Pain is not punishment, it's an alarm, a call to awareness. Neuroscience shows that emotional pain activates the same areas in the brain as physical pain. That's not random, it's by design. Pain is how the body grabs your attention when the soul has been ignored for too long. But here's the catch. Most people react with denial or victimhood. And in doing so, they miss the opportunity for transformation. The subconscious mind wants to avoid pain at all costs. But your higher self? It sees pain as a portal, a chance to reset. That's why, instead of resisting pain, you must investigate it. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to show me? What belief is hiding beneath it? What emotion have I been suppressing? This is the beginning of mental reprogramming. When pain becomes the catalyst for awakening. When you reach states of expanded awareness through meditation, something profound happens. You begin to see that pain isn't personal. It's not here to punish you. It's here to serve something much greater. Practicing heart coherence and gratitude even during struggle rewires the way your brain and body process suffering. This shifts your chemistry, your physiology, and ultimately your reality. Pain then stops being a weight and becomes a threshold, a doorway between the old self and the new self. And many people at that threshold hear the call to change beliefs, release emotional patterns, and align with true abundance. Here's the turning point. The moment you stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as refinement. You're not being broken. You're being reshaped. When that truth sinks in, something shifts. A quiet strength awakens. A clarity rises. A willingness to grow emerges. Yes, the pain still exists, but now it has purpose. And purpose gives meaning. So the next time life squeezes you, ask, what part of me is being invited to evolve? Because when you do that, you stop being a victim and you step into the role of co-creator. And that, my friend, changes everything. You begin to use even your pain as fuel for your destiny. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by chance. And no, that's not some fluffy spiritual cliche. It's quantum physics in motion. Every experience, every meeting, every heartbreak, and every breakthrough carries a packet of information. That information is meant to be integrated. Joe Dispenza explains that everything you live gets stored as energetic data in your body and subconscious. And if you don't consciously process and integrate those experiences, they keep running in the background, silently influencing your emotions, decisions, and even your health. Life doesn't want you to just get over it. It wants you to understand it, to reframe it, to embody it, because that's how you evolve into your highest version. Integration isn't passive. It requires presence, intention, and emotional maturity. It means looking at your past without judgment, identifying the mental patterns triggered by each event, and converting that pain into usable wisdom. Neuroscience confirms, when you revisit a memory under a new emotional state, like gratitude, you literally rewrite how that memory is stored in the brain. Yes, you can recode your past inside of you. And when you do that, you change your electromagnetic field. You shift your energetic frequency. You broadcast a new signal to the quantum field. That's how you redirect the flow of your future experiences. This process accelerates with daily meditation and heart coherence, because these practices slow down the nervous system and create inner safety for your mind and heart to reconnect. And in that space, insight comes. Revelations surface. Moments of deep clarity emerge. Suddenly, what once felt like a random loss, a painful betrayal, or a failure now reveals a hidden order, an intelligent design behind it all. And you realize, none of it was in vain. It was all aligning you with who you really are. Silence can be terrifying. The mind wants answers now, signs, proof, certainty. But real transformation doesn't shout. It whispers. Joe Dispenza teaches, when you plant a clear intention into the quantum field, it takes time to organize and collapse into reality. And in that interval, the subconscious mind panics. Is anything happening? Am I wasting my time? Those are old voices, programmed for survival, not expansion. But here's the truth. It's in the silence that the seed begins to grow. And your only job in that moment is to trust. Trust is an energetic decision. It's not about seeing, it's about feeling. It's about maintaining a high vibration even when the outside world gives you nothing in return. Neuroscience proves it. The brain doesn't know the difference between something real and something vividly imagined with emotion. When you meditate and feel gratitude as if your desire has already happened, your body shifts into a new chemical state. That changes your electromagnetic signature. And that sends a powerful message to the universe. This is who I am now. I'm ready. The universe doesn't respond to doubt. It responds to emotional certainty. But holding that certainty in the dark takes practice. That's why daily meditation, coherence, and presence aren't just habits. They're disciplines of conscious creation. They protect you from being hijacked by a conditioned mind trying to sabotage the new. Because yes, your old self will fight to come back. It'll whisper that nothing's working. It'll tempt you into autopilot. And this is where you step in, not as the old self, but as the creator. Hold your clarity. Stay in elevated emotion, even when nothing seems to move. Because stillness isn't stagnation. It's gestation. Uncertainty is the birthplace of creation. Only in surrender can something new emerge. To trust the process is to trust yourself. It's to believe that there's an intelligence designing your life far beyond your linear mind's comprehension. It's like looking at a stormy sky and still knowing the sun is there. Not because you see it, but because you remember its warmth. So when everything feels silent and slow, breathe, come back to your intention, reconnect with your vision, because in that exact moment, the universe is listening. And in complete stillness, it's building the reality you're about to live. Think of a seed. It must be buried in the darkness. It must crack open. It must grow against gravity until it reaches the light. No one calls that suffering unjust. But when it's you under pressure, in the dark, breaking open, you call it tragedy. But here's the truth. All real growth begins in adversity. Joe Dispenza reminds us, discomfort is the sign of imminent expansion. Pain is the labor of the new self. And there are no miracles without breakdown. Just like coal must face pressure to become a diamond, consciousness must face challenge to awaken. Think of the Chinese bamboo. It doesn't grow above ground for 5 years. But in that time, it builds a powerful root system. Then, in just a few weeks, it grows several feet. If you didn't know the process, you'd think it was failing. But it wasn't, it was preparing. Neuroscience shows that deep transformation happens before it's visible. Mental reprogramming is like that. You meditate, visualize, practice gratitude, and it looks like nothing's changing. But under the surface, neural pathways are forming. Emotions are stabilizing. Your frequency is rising. And like gold refined by fire, you're shedding what's impure, what's false, what's outdated. Adversity burns away the ego. It tears off the masks. It ends the excuses. And what's left is the real you. Yes, the mind will resist. The body will panic. Doubt will scream. But that's exactly when you lean into the practice. Heart coherence, clarity of intention, elevated emotion. That's when the quantum field responds, with signs, with synchronicities, with breakthroughs, because the universe recognizes the one who holds the frequency even inside the fire. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're roadmaps. The butterfly, the bamboo, the seed, the gold. They're all saying the same thing. Stay the course, even when everything seems to fall apart. Because that's when everything is aligning for you to bloom. And if you listen with your heart, you'll realize the universe never wanted to break you. It only wanted to prepare you to carry the light that was always yours. Now tell me, which part of this video spoke to you the most? Have you ever felt those signs without realizing what they meant? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to know how this message resonated with your path. If this touched something inside you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and don't miss the next content that could accelerate your transformation. And at the end of this video, check out the recommended links on the screen. Click and continue this journey with us. Thank you for being here.